Weather Northeastern. Let's take a look at some viewer sent in photos and videos here from upstate New York. Micah Bush from the near Corning, New York area. You can see a very beautiful 7 inches of snowfall on the ground. Many areas of upstate New York were hard pressed to eventually get the snow, but once the snow started later on Wednesday into early Thursday morning, it started to pile up, especially in the overnight hours as we got that moisture wrapping around the backside of this nor'easter, which was a very slow moving nor'easter. So thank you for sending this photo in. A very nice 7 inches, and this was about the average here across upstate New York. Although you've head further east towards the Interstate 81 corridor, that's where you saw anywhere from 12 to as much as 18 inches of snow north of the Binghamton area, particularly Cortland up to South Syracuse. So very nice photo here, 7 inches of nice snow, getting us in the Christmas spirit. Heading down south, Lucas from Linden, Texas. Look at this beautiful sunset here. This really does a sunset justice. Look at some of this crimson colors even coming through the trees here. This is very interesting, and when you get the low sun angle this time of year, that is what you often get. So very nice capture here, Lucas from Linden, Texas, looking very beautiful, and enjoy it because it looks like Linden is going to be getting some inclement weather in the form of precipitation, mainly in the form of rain, and also some thunderstorms possible. But take a look at this, heading on for your nature viewing here. Look at all of these birds here across the Linden area, showing the nature is really on the move here across the southern states. So very nice capture of all these birds, Lucas. Very, very much this time of year, a lot of the northern birds migrating to the south. So of course the southern states will have quite a bit more bird activity this time of year than the northern states. Thank you, Lucas, for sending these videos in as well. So let's get right into weather here. Your attention is drawn to California and southwestern Oregon. Look at this, upwards of 5 to 8 inches of rain. This is really filling up the reservoirs quite nicely and putting a big dent in that drought as the slight El Nino continues to try to kick in. And of course, here on the East Coast, we're looking a bit more quieter. But take a look at this. Here down towards Dallas and London, Little Rock, over to Shreveport. This is where you could be getting in on the act of some frontal activity with some heavier rains developing. Let's take a look at those surface maps for heading into your weekend. Look at this Saturday. Not too bad across the Northeast. Mainly your only really sunny day during the forecast period here. And that's what we'll be looking at here. Temperatures warming up into the 40s along the coastal plain. 30s back inland here, low to mid 30s. But heading on into Sunday, you see you finally get rid of that system here in New England, that stalled out system that was cut off for so long. Very hard to predict system, but it did eventually materialize. It's basically cut off from the jet stream, so it kind of meandered for days here, but finally moving out of the picture, and that allows a southerly flow to start kicking in here as we get kind of a pattern, a very benign pattern setting up, heading on into Monday. Look at this, we get some 40s out ahead on the backside of this high pressure system, all the way up into southern New England here. And look at this, back across Ohio here, we'll start to see some shower activity develop in the approach of this next system on Tuesday. Take a look at this system pressing in across southern Ontario and then extending southward just west of Cleveland here, bringing in some moisture. And look at this, some warmer temperatures even along the coastal plain here. We could be seeing highs near 50, and even the Susquehanna River Valley of upstate New York, northeast Pennsylvania, could be holding into the low to mid 40s by this time period. So that's the surface map outlook. We have some changes that will go on after this. Now, of course, you will be dealing with a warm-up next week, but this is what we could be looking at Christmas week. We'll start to see a little bit more ridging out west here, and this will allow a trough to kick back across the eastern portion, especially the eastern third of the U.S. and Canada here. And this will allow some much colder air, Siberian air, to traverse just north of Alaska here and push down across the prairies of Canada, heading on just east of the Rocky Mountains and pushing southeastward. And during that time, the jet stream will become much more amplified, and we could see some strong systems develop along the southeast coast. So you want to stay tuned for that, particularly later next week. I'll have even more details on this situation. But I'm going to have a 5-day outlook here for my hometown viewers from upstate New York, Susquehanna region, into northeast Pennsylvania, Susquehanna region. Don't forget to like me on Facebook at MeteoMark. Subscribe to me on YouTube at MeteoMark.com. It's Twitter at WX Northeastern. Here's that 5-day outlook from Binghamton to Scranton. We start off during the day on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday basically being your only sunny day, because we start to get almost like an inversion setting up here, where we get a lot of cloudy skies, a lot of stagnant air for Sunday. Heading on into Monday, look at this, pushing 40 here. Heading on to Tuesday as well, and eventually Wednesday we start to get some showers and maybe some shower activity, a little bit of wet snowflakes mixing in, but for the most part this looks to be mostly liquid out ahead of the main frontal boundary. It will be a weak system, and it looks to move very slowly. We're kind of on a cutoff pattern here across the east. That's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern.